Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room, and today I am joined by the teams from the latest Victory Road tournament. For those who do not know, Victory Road is a premier grassroots tournament. They have a lot of prize money up for grabs. They have also like a system of invites to get to their bigger tournament that has even more money involved. It's just a great way to keep yourself fresh in the game, to practice and to improve, and also a great place to analyze the metagame and grab some teams. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. First things first though, before we hop into the teams, I'm just going to break down the top cut teams. Again, all this stuff will be linked down below. But first things first, I want to take a look at the actual metagame and the usage stats of this tournament. So obviously the most used Pokemon here is Sneasler. Sneasler continues to be the best Pokemon in the format, #1, but not by a long shot anymore. I feel like Sneasler, Basculegion, King Gambit, 1, 2, and 3 here. You also notice that they are just three King Gambits short of tying with Sneasler, and then one Basculegion short of tying with Sneasler. So these three are the premier Pokemon in the format, easily the best around and the best Pokemon you can be using, and also the best Pokemon that you actually need to counter and be prepared for. So Sneasler #1 makes sense. Very, very good. They also form this kind of crazy type chart triangle of King Gambit beats Basculegion, Basculegion beats Sneasler, Sneasler beats King Gambit, and it just never ends, right? And then all three of them also are just great on the same team together. Sneasler can help enable all of them with Fake Out, Basculegion does tons of damage, and King Gambit has those priority moves, and he's so hard to kill. So it makes sense. Those three are 1, 2, and 3. Garchomp also not far behind. Garchomp is another incredible Pokemon. I think particularly just because he matches up, he just kind of trades well with everything, but he also matches up really, really well with both King Gambit and Sneasler. He obviously can hit them both with Earthquake. He does lots of damage. He's also naturally very, very bulky and very fast. He just kind of has turned into I don't know. He's a brawler, dude. He just trades with you better than you can trade with him. It's almost impossible to one-shot him. They're obviously, he is 4 times weak to ice, and fairy moves give him trouble. But for the most part, he does brawl really well with most of the format. Aerodactyl has risen to the top as well. Aerodactyl is just kind of like the premier speed control. Obviously, there is Talonflame and there is Whimsicott, but Aerodactyl does Tailwind, but he does offense better, right? He's able to put pressure on Pokemon like Charizard and also Sneasler with dual Wing Beat. He has great utility also in Wide Guard. We saw Wide Guard win the Grand Scrod Tour. You should totally check that tournament out as well. But yeah, he's just very, very good. He matches up into those top Pokemon, Charizard, Sneasler specifically, and continues to just be a great support for any team that needs it. And next we have Charizard, who is the most popular Mega Pokemon. He's continuously shown that he is not a fraud, and he is just one of the best Pokemon in the game. Once again, he matches up pretty well into the Sneasler, Basculegion, King Gambit core. You have to be a little bit careful. They all can hit you for insane physical damage, but you're also able to trade and potentially one-shot all of them back with Weather Ball or Solar Beam, respectively. So Charizard continuing that rise, Incineroar continuing his plummet. Not doing great. But he is still a good Pokemon. I still think he has a lot of value. It's just you need to be really, really picky about it, right? I think the teams where he shines the most right now are mainly Floette comps to help set up Floette, or just to help set up anything, right? I've seen him paired with Scizor or paired with I'm totally blanking, Mega Charizard X as well. He just kind of is there to enable those Mega Pokemon, or Gengar. Gengar he is incredible with as well. But yeah, I think you just need to be very deliberate in how you're using him. Nothing too crazy here. We see Sinestcha continuing to dive bomb. Floette is continuing to rise. Floette is still very, very good, very, very solid. Lots of flexibility. You can use it as a setup Xerneas type Pokemon, or you can just use it as a all-out special attacker with Light of Rune, which is also very good. Rotom being at 10 is not too crazy. It feels like Aegislash is just steadily increasing. Once again, he does match up well into these two in particular pretty well. You got to be careful of this guy, but with Sneasler, right? He completely walls Sneasler completely, which is a very good trait of Aegislash. He's good in Aerodactyl. He's also a good trade Pokemon. Archaludon is rising as well. I think Archaludon is very, very good, and I think Cybertron actually really kind of showcased how strong Archaludon can be. And I think going forward, I expect Archaludon to continuously rise in how good he is, because I think that Pokemon is absurdly strong. Even though it lost access to Body Press, it is still a very, very strong Pokemon in the format. Also, Scovillain continuing to show that it's a top tier Mega. Dragonite showing that it's pretty strong. Funnily enough, Gengar did quite terribly. Only one made it to day 2, but I still think Gengar is a consistent and strong Pokemon. just not its tournament. So we'll have to see. Let's take a look at these teams now. So the first team we're going to take a look at here is Justin's team. We've got a Charizard Sylveon team. Now, I think this team is rather sick. I think it's pretty cool. I think Mega Aerodactyl is really strong. I've been testing a lot of Mega Aerodactyl myself as well. And honestly, he doesn't disappoint. So I'll start with Mega Aerodactyl and explain why he's so good right now. The big thing is that he's able to easily outspeed enemy Basculegions with ease, right? Like, obviously there's no sash, so Scarf Basculegion, I can just wave crash Aerodactyl. But if you run max speed, you actually hit the same speed as Shadow Rider, so you don't even have to run max speed, and you can easily outspeed Scarf Basculegions, set up a Tailwind, or potentially just put on some pressure with like a Shadow Sneak plus Rock Slide or something of that sort, and you're able to just take a really strong early lead, or you can just nag that speed control. Another cool thing is that Mega Charizard is here as a secondary Mega. I think it puts a lot of pressure on Basculegion as well. I've talked about how good Mega Charizard can be. He's just really good at trading. He hits all Pokemon in the game so hard with his fire moves, and then Solar Beam is really great to hit stuff like Basculegion. So we have like this Tailwind mode. We also just have like this really bulky, like all the Pokemon here are just naturally really bulky or just do insane damage, right? Sylveon is really neat as well because we do have double Mega already, so there isn't really room for something like Floette. So I feel like Sylveon rises up as like the best fairy type in the game. Obviously, I think Floette and Gardevoir are very good fairy types and probably better, but on a team like this where you don't want to run triple Mega, Sylveon is pretty strong. Hyper Voice spam is good. Hyper Beam literally just deletes anything, which is kind of funny. I don't know how often you're clicking it, but I think it's strong. Then we have this really cool Aegislash with Poltergeist, Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, and King Shield. I'm a big fan of this because, well, Iron Head is pretty useful, right? Mainly just for Floette, but also into Sneasler. If they blow their Close Combat, you actually can't touch Sneasler with Poltergeist. So knowing that, I think Iron Head does have some value, but I think Close Combat's really cool because you're able to take any hit from King Gambit relatively easily, and then you're able to fire back with this really strong Close Combat. And then you also have Shadow Sneak priority, you have King Shield obviously to change your stances. Shadow Sneak and Poltergeist are really incredible, just great moves. And I feel like when you fight against Floette and stuff, I think Poltergeist is enough to just deal a base 110 physical ghost move is like enough to keep the momentum down. And I feel like the damage is comparable. So I really think Aegislash is in a great spot. And I think that moveset is really solid and really cool. Then we have that Sash Basculegion, which I think is really good. It's very great in endgames. Obviously, Basculegion is just the endgame monster with last respects. But specifically in Basculegion Mirrors, when they're Scarf and you're not, if you do have that Sash intact, you do have a slight advantage and you are able to leverage that. And sometimes also, you're able with Tailwind or something, right? You're able to potentially get off a second last respect that you normally wouldn't because you're able to KO, you know, potentially a Pokemon that has priority, or you're able to take a KO and then the next turn you just pick up another one because the Tailwind hasn't expired. So I think Sash is just great, and Basculegion in general is just like one of the best Pokemon in the game, so it makes sense to see it here. And then we have Garchomp. Citrus Berry Garchomp is one of my favorite sets. It's just so incredibly hard to kill. He actually uses the item so well. You wouldn't think so, right? You would think like, oh, why don't you run like Yachi Berry or Soft Sand or something like that? But Citrus is just like, it's just good bulk. He's able to trade with stuff like Sneasler incredibly well, making Close Combat a potential 3-hit KO with the Citrus Berry. I think there's just a lot of good util there. And then also, speaking of util, it also has Rock Tomb, which is a very surprising yet very cool move, especially to get leverage against, you know, other Charizards, or to set up a potential Rock Tomb into Last Respects, Rock Tomb into Hyper Voice, right? Like, you have a lot of slow Pokemon in Aegislash, Sylveon, and Basculegion, so potentially being able to Rock Tomb them, lower their speed by 1, and obviously the speed is instant, so then Garchomp can do its thing is really sick. Or so the partner can do its thing is really sick, right? Enabling these slower Pokemon with Rock Tomb is cool. I mean, same with Charizard as well. Potentially just pressing Rock Tomb with a very fast Garchomp that is able to enable him. I think this team is awesome, and I think this is just like a really good Charizard team right now. I would say this is like the new Charizard team. We're actually going to see it again later, but yeah. Then next up, we have Scovillain plus Aerodactyl. One of my favorite combinations as well. I just like playing the game, but I really like Scovillain plus Aerodactyl. I think it's a really fun combination, and I think they cover each other perfectly. So You're probably wondering why. Why are they so good together? And I think it just starts with Aerodactyl's ability to slaughter Charizard. I think Scovillain's biggest weakness, and the thing he hates more than anything, is Charizard. Charizard is his best matchup, most notably just like fire types in general kind of suck, so Incineroar can also be a little bit annoying, but Charizard's brutal because you can't even burn him. You can't burn Incin either, but you can't even burn him. So with that in mind, having something like Mega Aerodactyl just as like your Charizard matchup, but also just in general, I think Aerodactyl is a strong Pokemon, being able to put really strong Tailwinds up. It just makes sense. I think it's just good. I think they just complement each other really, really well. Scovillain is he's just so strong. I also think both of them can be brought without their Mega forms. Usually you're going to want to Mega the Scovillain if you're bringing him, but you don't necessarily have to. But then, obviously looking further, we also see Swords Dance Kingambit with black glasses. Now, this is something you don't see a lot of. Kingambit may be one of the best Pokemon in the game, but Swords Dance is just nowhere to be seen. The coverage that you get from Iron Head or Low Kick is just insane value right now. But this team says, no. I'm going to set up Kingambit, and I'm going to go crazy with it, right? So you have Fake Out support from Sneasler. You also have this Rage Powder, Spicy Spray, Mega Scovillain that can also enable Kingambit. Because something that beats Kingambit, like with spread moves such as Garchomp, you know, he's going to get burned, right? Or Excadrill or Tyranitar, stuff like that. Obviously, again, Charizard would be great into these two, but we have Mega Aerodactyl for that. But yeah, not really seen right now, and I think that's really, really cool. It just picks up like so many KOs. Like there's not many Pokemon that really want to take a Black Glasses +2 Sucker Punch. So very cool. Sneasler, very boring, but really important here because I think it enables Kingambit a lot. And I also really like Sneasler plus Aerodactyl, especially Mega as a lead. You put on a ton of pressure. You can get those guaranteed tailwinds and just kind of, you just take control of the game because your Pokemon are so fast and so powerful. Again, we're seeing this choice, or this Focus Sash Basculegion, which again, I think makes sense here. You're able to use Tailwind with it, or in general, just being able to late game something with a huge last respects. I think one of the benefits too is like Choice Scarf Basculegion, which not traditionally, they need to run Jolly because of the way the format is and the way the Pokemon are so fast. Jolly is kind of what you need to run. But I think what's cool about Sash is you get to run Adamant. So your last respects are doing more than the normal Choice Scarf version of this Pokemon. So I think it's just a little benefit, right? Because that nature boost is really huge. Then we have Ninetales, who I think is kind of fun here. Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Encore. Ninetales is just a good Pokemon. There aren't many fairy types in the game, so just having that defensive typing is really cool. And also, just again, there's so many Pokemon weak to ice. Like I would talk about how bulky and strong Garchomp is, and I think having access to a ice type is just very valuable. Being able to threaten that one shot, there's nothing he can really do into you. So very cool team here. I'm a huge fan. This is definitely one I want to try out. That team is sick from Benny. Next up, we have Luca's team here. Luca's running a very cool Mega Dragonite, Mega Scizor team. I think these two Pokemon also have amazing synergy together as well. I think that they just help each other out a ton. Again, Scizor, he hates Charizard. He hates that guy so much. So having a Mega that you can reliably bring into the Charizard teams feel very good. And I think Dragonite is exceptional at fighting Charizard. When I've played against Dragonite with my Charizard teams, I'm like, oh my god, this guy doesn't die. And he's setting up Tailwind, and he's just continuously pressuring me with Dragon Pulse, and I have to figure out how I'm going to deal with Multiscale. Like, anytime Dragonite and Charizard are on the board facing each other, Dragonite just doesn't care. He's just like, I don't care about the guy. I'm just going to focus on hurting the partner with Dragon Pulse or Hurricane. Also, he doesn't, I think what's really valuable about Dragonite too, in the Charizard matchup specifically, is you don't have to bring in Pelipper, right? Like, Dragonite can say, hey, I don't need weather control. I'll take a boosted Sun Heat Wave, and I'm going to set up Tailwind, or I'm going to start Dragon Pulsing and enabling my partners, right? So I think it's a really cool, specifically Sun matchup as well. Tailwind coverage is always nice, and he's so reliable and so tanky that Tailwind is all but guaranteed. I think Mega Dragonite is like very solid. And then Scizor is, I think, a very, very good Pokemon right now. I think Scizor is really strong. He just really does struggle versus Charizard. The lack of Incineroar is really great for him. I think he also really dislikes Basculegion as well. But if you get over those Pokemon, Scizor can really shine, right? Bug Bite is exceptional in this format. There are so many berries and so many Pokemon that you can just steal their berry, eat a citrus berry, and then you're chilling, right? Like or just stealing a resist berry, right? Like eating a Chople berry and then following it up with a close combat or something, right? There's a lot of really cool things you can do. Aerodactyl, one of the reasons he's so good is because of a nerve, but Scizor does that as well with his Bug Bite. I think Scizor is just so good. I've been itching to try him. I think he's in a very, very good spot, but I do think he's kind of a double mega like fiend. I think you want to run usually Aerodactyl, Charizard X, Dragonite, something that helps deal with enemy Charizards. So I think Scizor, but you have a rain team, so I think Scizor can really shine here. Then we have a pretty normal Sneasler, but I think Sneasler's important here because it helps our Scizor setup, right? We have Swords Dance. We want to fake out, help him do what he's designed to do. Again, Fake Out also just helps stuff like Pelipper. We have double Tailwind on our team. It can help enable any of that setup. It also can just like be, help put on pressure with Archaludon, right? In the right situation. If you have Rain up and you have these two up with Fake Out, oh my god, that's a free Electroshock boost, right? Whether or not they protect, you're getting that boost. So I'm a big fan of Sneasler here. It's just a good Pokemon. Archaludon, I think this Pokemon is so disgusting and so strong. Again, Aaron really showed us like how nuts it can be, and I think it was slowly rising to the top. I think it was just figuring out the set, and I think specifically in this format, stamina is really broken. We'll talk about it more when Scovillain comes back up, but one of the reasons Scovillain's so good is because of those burns. There's so many physical attackers in this format, but Archaludon does that too. Stamina is a really fantastic ability, especially if you just switch it in, right? Like there's so many situations where someone will lead like Sneasler plus something, right? And they're like, I'm just gonna Fake Out. Or let's say like on our own team, we have like Scizor. If you're like, hey, I kind of want to throw a Bullet Punch down. If you switch in Archaludon on like a really soft hit, like a Fake Out or a Bullet Punch, or I mean, even just on like a resisted hit, right? To get that stamina boost, once he gets going, he is almost impossible to KO. With those leftovers, you can easily find protect turns to weave in to get more HP back. I'm just a really big Archaludon fan, and I think he is just one of the best Pokemon in the game. So it's really just finding about what you want to pair with it. Obviously, Pelipper is really important. He's our next Pokemon here. But yeah, I'm a big fan. He can also hit Pokemon like Floette really strong with Flash Cannon. Depending on his boosts as well, he can start contesting Pokemon like Garchomp and Sneasler, because he can easily just take those hits once he has 1 or 2 stamina boosts, and he just trades exceptionally well. He's a brawler as well. Then we have Pelipper. Pelipper's a demon, dude. This Pokemon's always good. It's so silly. It's so strong. It has access to Rain, which is very good. We've got Weather Ball, Hurricane, your 2 standard moves. I think what makes Pelipper so good is like naturally the Pokemon that you'd want to beat Rain with just suck into Pelipper, specifically grass types. But grass types just suck in general, really. So having that extra flying coverage is also nice. There aren't a lot of flying types in the game. The flying coverage is hard to come by, right? Like you're looking at like Talonflame event, dual Wing Beat from Aerodactyl. So a big Hurricane from either Pelipper or Dragonite here feels incredible. And then we have that Scarf Basculegion. Again, Basculegion is the best Pokemon in the game, one of the best. So you might as well put him on the Rain team, right? And I think this set is better than something like Swift Swim, because you don't really want to rely on Rain, because we do have to bring one of our Megas usually. But also, he's just so good in and out of Rain, being able to potentially flip turn, set up the Rain, right? Like, you could easily lead something like Archaludon Basculegion, flip turn, Electroshot, what are you going to do, right? So, it just makes more sense, I think, to be Adaptability Scarf. You also do so much damage with the Adaptability Rain Boosted Wave Crash. So, just another incredible team. Next up here, we have another Rain team with Archaludon, and another Scizor here. Scizor and Mega Venusaur, actually. Wow. I think this team is cool. I like this one a lot. It's very similar to what we just talked about, so we won't go too crazy with it. But I think one big thing is you're probably saying, you're like, okay, Colin, you just told me that Scizor usually wants to be paired with a Pokemon that can beat Mega Charizard, right? So why are we pairing Scizor with Mega Venusaur, right? Like, that just seems so crazy. But at the same time, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Venusaur actually can trade pretty well into Charizard, unironically. I've played a lot of Charizard, and when I see this Pokemon, I don't really consider him like the best answer. Obviously, he can trade well into it, he can deal a lot of damage, but if you are protecting it with the Rain and the Thick Fat ability, like, it doesn't take super effective damage from fire type moves. It's just neutral. So if you are protecting with the Rain, or you just keep it healthy enough, it can trade well with Charizard. Sludge Bomb does a lot of damage. It's a very strong move. Mega Venusaur's got those stats behind it. It's just kind of a juggernaut. I just think it's really obnoxious to KO. Earth Power is a really cool coverage move. We don't even have Leech Seed. So this is just more about like just genuine damage trading, right? Like you're just saying, hey, the Pokemon in this game cannot kill this Pokemon. There are not a lot of Psychic types or Flying types. Obviously there are some. We just talk about them, but for the most part, like Flying and Psychic are pretty rare types. I think Psychic types are really struggling right now. I mean, I'm trying to even think of one that's doing super well. Let me scroll down. Is there even one? I'm totally blanking. I don't. Oh my gosh, there's not a single Psychic type here. If I'm missing one, I'm so sorry. Oh, Frigoraph. Frigoraph is the only Psychic type. So literally that makes it so lit for Mega Venusaur. So I think it makes a lot of sense that it's doing well. And then also notably here, Scizor has close combat over Bug Bite. It just gives it a really, really good King Gambit matchup. King Gambit already really dislikes Scizor, but with close combat and a Swords Dance, it's going down. It's also just a really, really strong move in general to just have. You're able to hit stuff like Arch. We talked about Arch a lot. I think Arch, Pelipper, Basque, really, really godlike core. So strong. Like you just never, these guys are never going to disappoint you. They're so broken. Having that fast Basque Legion, the Rain is broken. This guy's hard to kill. This one's opting for Citrus Berry Pelipper instead of Mystic Water on the last one. The last one, like Mystic Water is cool because it gives you that extra damage, but Citrus just makes him more reliable and harder to KO. Another big thing is there's just not a lot of electric types. There's like none. The only electric type Pokemon I can think of are Rotom, who is very good in terrain and in general just very good, but we do have Mega Venusaur for that. But the other one is like, I think the second best electric type, dare I say, is just Archaludon. Like, he does the most electric type damage, even more than Rotom, because Electro Shot. So Pelipper is just so safe right now. It's very reliable and just very hard to kill. It matches up well into Sneasler. It doesn't love Basque, and it also matches up pretty decently, like just neutrally across the board. Like Weather Ball trading is just so strong. It has tons of good util. Helping Hand, Tailwind are also very neat. And then Incineroar. I think Incineroar is actually really important on this team because it really helps enable Scizor. This one has a Sneasler, but I think Incineroar is still a good Pokemon, and I think pairing it, like obviously we don't have the fighting coverage, so we're putting it here, but I think he is just a little bit more reliable at especially pushing Scizor to the next level, just because he is so hard to kill already. So giving him Intimidate is absolutely nuts. Very cool team there. I'm a big fan of that one as well. I like Rain Scizor, dude. I just like Scizor. Now we have another Mega Venusaur. So that one was actually top 8 as well. So we have another Rain Venusaur here. Or not another Rain Venusaur. We just have another Venusaur with Sleep Powder. Oh, that's sick. That's crazy. That's insane. So we have Sleep Powder, just Mega Venusaur, sure. This one is definitely more of a Calm Mind Floette team for sure. Like you have access to both Instant Sneasler, able to help Floette shine, right? Like because it is a Calm Mindset, so giving it Fake Out is super valuable. But interestingly enough, we don't have Tailwind or Redirection. This is just a it's just a bulky trade heavy team, because usually you see a lot of, like, you see Sinestia, you see Mousehold, you see Aerodactyl. Those are very popular Pokemon with Floette, but this team is just not opting for it. I mean, also you do have Sleep Powder from Venusaur, so that could be neat as well. You have Icy Wind Milotic with Life Dew to help keep Floette alive as well, and then a Garchomp with Choice Scarf, which is pretty solid. So the Choice Scarf Garchomp set is, I feel like it's falling off a little bit, but it still has some really insane value. This one doesn't even have Earthquake because there's no Earthquake partners. Rock Slide for those Charizards. Stomping is just very good. Dragon Claw and Iron Head. That's a fun one. Yeah, this team is just kind of weird to me. You do have all that support, right? The double Fake Out. You can trade really well with Venusaur. You can keep everything alive with Life Dew. It feels like it's a team that just wants to abuse the fact that it does have so much healing, whether it's with Giga Drain or with Life Dew or with Leftovers and Citrus Berry. You just have really strong Pokemon that are going to take hits better than your opponent, and you're going to fire back with a really strong hit. This team is just... it's a wild one. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool because, like, if I sat down versus this team at a tournament, I would be lost, man. I'd be so lost. I'd be like... how do I deal with both Venusaur and Floette? Like, I think that's part of it too, is that they do require kind of different answers. But yeah, I mean, this team is just like so bulky. I just imagine just getting so annoyed trying to KO those Pokemon. Next up, we have a team consisting of Scovillain and Aerodactyl once again. I think this was, yeah, so this was the team that got top 8 in the Scraw tournament as well, used by testing 800 in that tournament. I think this is a very good team. This is the team actually I've been spending the most amount of time with on ladder, and I'm a huge fan. I think Komo is really well positioned, and specifically with this team, I think it's just hard to get at him, right? Having Soundproof is awesome because that stops Pokemon like Sylveon. Gardevoir specifically, are their best ways to hit you are with Hyper Voice, right? But let's say, oh, you're like, Colin, Gardevoir carries Psychic, Sylveon is Hyper Beam. I'm just gonna press those buttons. But if you put him next to Scovillain or next to Fake Out, he is really difficult to KO, and Klingoria's Soul is all but the freest of setups. It's so consistent at setting it up. It's so good into a lot of the common Pokemon. Very good into Sneasler, very good into King Gambit, and even Basculegion, it can start to outspeed after one Klingoria's Soul. He also raises all of his stats. It's an Omni boost. Leftover synergy is just perfect. I think Komo is just incredible. I think you have to respect him, and you have to figure out how you're going to beat him, because he can just get out of hand so quickly. Also, the Komo Mirror, Soundproof is lit. Aerodactyl, again, helps you with Charizard. I think Komo also helps as well. I think your Charizard matchup is really good with these two. Scovillain with Energy Ball overheat's pretty crazy. I'm a big fan of Leech Seed personally, but I do see the value in having something like Energy Ball just to be able to smack around stuff like Basculegion. I think grass coverage is nice. I talked about how there's no grass types, but Scovillain is one, and I think giving yourself that grass coverage with Energy Ball, Giga Drain, Leech Seed not so much, but those two are really sick. Leech Seed is awesome though as like a checkmate thing, but I think just having this move, it's valuable. It's worth it. Then we got the Citrus Berry Adaptability Basculegion. Huge fan of this set. Basculegion is just the best Pokemon. I've said this like 10 times now. But Sash is great, Scarf's great, but so is Citrus, because you're able to just take hits, specifically from stuff like King Gambit. You can take a Sucker Punch pretty easily and then just fire back with a big Wave Crash, and you'll live because you have Citrus Berry. So I think it's kind of a neat item. It allows you to run Wave Crash, which is valuable. He's just a very bulky Pokemon in general, so having this just makes him kind of a pivot as well. Sneasler, again, I think it pairs well with this Mega Aerodactyl, and also with this Komo to help enable him going, and it's just a great Pokemon. Gives you a lot of much-needed coverage into King Gambit, who we also have, who is kind of our main way to deal with something like Floette. I think Floette can be kind of annoying for these first 5. Floette is Komo's biggest problem, but having Ironhead King Gambit does help a little bit. I'm a huge fan of this team. I think it is incredible. Next up, we have our NAIC champion with the team we already talked about, but I'll talk about it again because I think it is so good. It's that Mega Aerodactyl Charizard team. I'm sure they probably work together, but I think that this team is just really solid. Like, I think this is probably like where I would start playing with Charizard at the moment. I think Sylveon is a really cool addition to Charizard cores. It lets you put pressure onto something like Floette without having to commit your Mega. You have this reliable Tailwind setter. This guy is just like a really solid, really good defensive switch, which I think sometimes the Charizard teams lack. I think a lot of the times the Charizard teams are really aggressive, and it's just about holding down the gas pedal the entire matchup, so you just keep that continuous pressure on. And so I think this team does have a little bit more of, like a little bit more defensive switches. Like these three can switch very easily, even Charizard. So I am a fan of this version. I'd love to give it a try. Also, Sash Basculegion is back. He's goated. But yeah, we talked about that team a little bit earlier, but I think it is really cool and very good. Next up, we have a team from Sam, which includes wow, this team's crazy. We have double Mega with Scovillain and Aerodactyl, but we also have Pelipper and Archaludon? Insane work. That's cool. Obviously, again, I've talked about this combo several times now. This was the Scovillain tournament, dude. He has come to play and proven that he is a top tier threat. But Scovillain puts a ton of pressure, or Aerodactyl puts a ton of pressure on Charizard, but also having that rain mode is really diabolical and really scary. I think specifically too, having Archaludon either behind Scovillain or behind Tailwind is really good. I really like the idea of pairing this Pokemon with these two Pokemon. Like, we've seen it a little bit with Sableye, which I think can be very annoying and very tricky to navigate, but just giving it speed control. Oh my gosh, it doesn't even have Tailwind. It has Wide Guard. Ooh, spicy, dude. That's crazy. Just trying to get the most damage out of Aerodactyl then. We do have Tailwind here, but yeah, I mean, even so, having it next to Scovillain is really sick, just because you are able to, like, how do you deal with these two? This guy's getting potential stamina boost if you use spread moves, and this guy's burning you. How am I killing Archaludon when I'm getting burned? It seems almost impossible. This is such a physical heavy format. God combo here. I legit think you could just lead these two, swap to this guy, and just start setting up leech seeds, and it would be pretty broken. Once again, we got Basculegion. He's great on rain. Just great. He's just good, man. Scarf Basculegion is so good. And then we have a Black Glasses King Gambit, which I think is fair. We have 2 flying types. We have a Pokemon that burns you, and we have Basculegion. I think Sneasler is going to be hard to bring here, so having the Black Glasses is kind of cheating, and I think it's super worth it. I think enemy Basculegions seem annoying as well, so being able to get that guaranteed one-shot with Sucker Punch seems lit. This team just seems awesome. I am such a fan of this one. Congrats to Sam for going so deep. This team is sick. I just think Scovillain, with the right team, just goes nuts, and I think this tournament is really showing how strong Scovillain is, and he is definitely a top-tier Mega Pokemon. And then we have Vincenzo here with a Charizard X team and Floette. Okay, so I think not normally, but the team last time I thought had like Incineroar paired with these guys. Maybe, no, it was Milotic, maybe. Milotic and Incin over King Gambit and Tauros. But I'm kind of a fan of this. So we have Fake Out and Coaching, which I think are very strong. Those help enable our boy Charizard. We're able to press Fake Out. We're able to press Coaching. Get this guy going. And also we have Defiant. So leading Incineroar, who's not very popular in general, is kind of difficult to do here. We also have a very offensive Floette. But I think the main idea here is, too, we also have Sinestro. We can set up some Dragon Dances. Get this guy going crazy with Temper Flare. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Didn't know he even got that, but sick nonetheless. You're able to potentially lead, Fake Out, set up your Dragon Dances, get going, and then when he gets a little low, boom, Sinestro heals him up. But also what I think is cool is we also have Intimidate in the form of Paldean form Aqua Breed Tauros. I just totally mixed up my words there. But Aqua Tauros is really cool, specifically because he does intimidate enemy King Gambits, but at the same time, as long as the partner's not dying, it's not a huge deal because you're able to just close combat them. Like you do resist all of King Gambit's moves. Like Incineroar, he doesn't necessarily love fighting against King Gambit. He can hit him with a Flare Blitz, but sometimes he has low kicks, sometimes he's faster. It can be a little bit tricky in the wrong circumstances. But with Tauros, he can just take any hit from this guy. He doesn't really care, and the Citrus Berry gives him even more bulk. So I feel like this is just such a bulk-heavy team. We've got huge damage threats in both Charizard and Floette, and then we just have amazing support for them. And also, our support Pokemon are also helping us out a ton. I think Hamachi Gacha, that grass move, is just really, really good coverage. The Sneasler as well, to potentially coach our King Gambit, to coach our Charizard, hell, even our Tauros. And then this Tauros as well can switch into almost anything and start putting pressure on with its water and fighting coverage. Very, very cool team. I like it as like there was the Charizard team, and this is like a slight upgrade or a slight different version that I think gave this guy a huge edge in top 4 of the tournament and allowed him to get an amazing finish. And then next up we have this team once again. Oh my gosh. This team dominated the tournament. Wow. This is the Charizard team. I really like it though because it looks like it pairs, like specifically Charizard mirrors are kind of annoying and dumb, but having Mega Aerodactyl does give you a slight edge because even if they have an Aerodactyl of their own, your Aerodactyl is now faster, so you're able to set up those tailwinds. You're able to put that pressure on. Wow, just incredible that this team like had 3 cuts from 3 amazing players. This team was fire. This team was fire. I'll break it down once again. Again, we have this Aerodactyl that is really good in the mirror, specifically pairs well with Garchomp, pairs well with basically every Pokemon on this team, whether you're Megaing or not, allows you to put a ton of pressure on. We have a Rock Tomb, Citrus Berry Garchomp that's so bulky, can trade so well with our opponents. And then we also have that Mega Charizard Y, who is our second Mega, but also can just come when Aerodactyl doesn't Mega Evolve and can put on a ton of pressure. Sash Basculegion to deal insane damage. Sylveon for that Fairy coverage, Fairy Ground Fire. Holy, that's insane coverage. That's a lot to deal with all these spread moves. This team has a ton of good Rock Slide, Earthquake, Heat Wave. Every Pokemon has a spread move except for 2. Like 4 of your Pokemon have their best move as a spread move. That's sick. That's strong. Especially in this format, Wide Guard is good. There just aren't a lot of good Wide Guard users. And then we have this Aegislash as well. The perfect pivot, a really good answer to Floette as well, but also just something that can put on a ton of pressure with this Ghost type Poltergeist. And then Close Combat is really cool for King Gambit. And then finally, we have the champion team with You guessed it, Scovillain, the GOAT, dude, the GOAT. We have Scovillain and Mega Tyranitar, which again, I think is a really cool combo because Scovillain plus Mega Aerodactyl is very good because it's good into Charizard, but Scovillain plus Mega Tyranitar is good because it's good into Charizard. I think they also just like, Tyranitar is a Pokemon that just doesn't need to Mega Evolve, so it just leaves such a flexible, flexible team. We actually saw Julio perform really, really well in the Scraw tournament as well, but he actually had triple Mega in that tournament, so he ditched one of the Megas, and then he wins the whole tournament. Fair enough. But it's a sand team. I think Corviknight is really good. We saw Joyu X9 have a lot of success with it, and I think Corviknight is positioned very, very well. He's very hard to deal with. Specifically, his biggest issue is Charizard, so that's why we see him paired with stuff like Tyranitar, but he's great in a King Gambit. He's great in a Sneasler. Setting up those bulk ups is absurdly annoying. If he gets them going, he can even contest stuff like Basculegion. He has utility in Tailwind. Just a really, really strong Pokemon and a hard Pokemon to KO, especially paired next to the Burn guy. Mega Tyranitar again is really great in a Charizard. Just in general, this Pokemon is one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the entire metagame, so I think he has some value in that as well. You obviously have to be very, very careful of fighting type moves, specifically from Sneasler or low kick from King Gambit, but if you dodge those moves, this Pokemon does insane damage. Knockoff literally goes nuclear. It's a stab dark type knockoff. Knockoff is also just not very common in the format, so being able to remove items can be incredibly valuable as well. Excadrill I think is really annoying. I think Excadrill Tyranitar is just hard to deal with, so I think pairing them together, like obviously pairing them together is godlike, but I think just as a lead it can be very, very hard, like just spamming Rock Slides or spamming, this one doesn't even have Earthquake, but yeah, spamming Rock Slides or just putting pressure with that ground type typing and Mega Tyranitar with permanent weather control, because if you Mega, you just guarantee get your weather back because he's the slowest weather Mega. Just incredible value from these two. Sneasler is just great, and then Scarf, Adaptability, Basculegion, no surprise there. We actually see Giga Drain over the normal Leech Seed, or I guess Energy Ball, another team we saw, but I think Giga Drain is cool because it does keep him a little bit healthier. You can also just get it instantly. You can trade well with a lot of Pokemon who get burned, and then you just start Giga Draining. It can be very, very brutal to deal with. So shout outs to Julia for winning this whole thing. I think this team is sick, and I think it's Scovillain's time. Like if we look at these stats, we had how many, like 1, 2, 3, 4 Scovillains in cut? Almost a third. I mean, more than a third of cut was Scovillain. It is Scovillain's time, and we need to fear him. He is very strong, which I think makes a lot of sense. This format is very physically heavy. If we look at a lot of these teams outside of stuff like Charizard, there's usually a lot of physical attackers. Sometimes it's like a 5-to-1 split. So having something that just burns your entire team is extremely, extremely lit. So yeah, it's a really cool tournament, and I think we're starting to see the meta develop in a little bit of a different way, because we did have that 6,000 person tournament, and now this one was a little smaller, but I think it's really showing where a lot of the top players' minds are going to and what they think the best approach is to the meta. And a lot of it is Scovillain and Mega Aerodactyl, which I think makes a lot of sense as well, because Mega Aerodactyl is very good into regular Aerodactyl because you do get that speed boost, so it gives you a slight edge. We'll have to see where the meta continues to adapt. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it greatly, and I'll see you next time.